Hello everybody, the students of grade 9. Once again, we are meeting today. Today is Wednesday, isn't it? In our last class, we learned something about causative verbs, didn't we? And today, you are with me, okay, to have one more English class, aren't you? See, my dear students, with my introduction, okay, and with something that I spoke to you, I have already entered into today's topic. The topic for today is question tags, but that is what you already know. My intention today is to make you, okay, know the concept of tags, in which we will try to elaborate our ideas in mind, okay, in reaching the purpose of using the tags. And for that, we will apply a bit of transformation, sentence transformation concepts. Okay, you're with me, Rakesh Shrestha, your English teacher. Let's unfold and unwrap our class today. So focus on the screen for a little while. You might see the topic that I have put on my slide and the board slightly varies, but they make the same meaning. Using tag question for purpose and the basics of transformations. We move on. What is a tag? Why do we use tag? How often we use tag in our language? It matters. So before we jump into the topic, I think we got to understand the concept of tag, the components of tag, how we understand tag in a sentence. So here is the definition. A tag question is a sentence with a question phrase connected at the end. We all know this. Example is given there. Okay. See, when Sarah arrived, we had already made our order, hadn't we? Now, why hadn't we? That is a discussion part. We will come to that later. Right now, I'm just trying to explore to you the concept of tag. Kevin did it, didn't he? It's windy today, isn't it? Now, you've got to understand, okay, let's pick up one sentence from it and try to understand what is tag, all right? So this is Kevin did it. Kevin did it. And the tag that we have been learning is like, didn't he? So look at the sentence. Kevin did it, didn't he? In every tag study, now pay attention, we have first a statement. All right, the first part of a question tag studies indicates the concept of statement. A statement that is stated by a speaker about something. It could be opinion, it could be fact, okay, it could be anything. It could be about a person, object, okay, abstract ideas, concrete ideas. And this statement can also appear in varieties of tense. So the tense can vary. You can use any sorts of tense. Right now we are using simple past tense, but here we can use any kinds of other tenses. It depends upon the speaker. Now, after the statement, there is a compulsory punctuation. This is comma. So you have to use a comma. Every statement, if you're using a tag at the end, okay, must close with a comma. Then you introduce tag. This is a tag. This is tag. Okay, you can also call it a question tag because you apparently use this to raise a kind of a question. But is it like a typical question that we ask? Like the WH questions or the yes-no questions or some questions like indirect questions, choice questions, information questions. There are varieties of questions. How do tags differ from those concepts? We will be exploring them too. But in a tag, okay, what do you need to notice? You first need to notice we always use a aux verb or auxiliary verb. All right? Or you can call this auxiliary verb the helping verb. See, I'm drawing the ideas here. So you will require an auxiliary verb or a helping verb to construct a tag. And then, okay, this particular part is called subject pronoun. All right, this is called subject pronoun. Why? Because we bring a relevant pronoun by referring it to its subject. Here, he refers to Kevin. And Kevin is subject, so that becomes a subject pronoun. So you have a lot of relationship to study, okay, when you are writing or working on tags. But is this all? No, there are a lot of other things that we need to focus, okay, in today's class. So do not forget the main, okay, idea of today's class is to get the purpose of using the tags. Now, with this, I would like to move on in explaining you the 6 easy steps in making a tag. What are these steps? Let's take a look at them. Again, steps I just explained. But before moving on to the steps, let's take a picture of, okay, the purpose. See, why do I use tag? Simple examples. To clarify informations. The speaker expects an answer. Examples. We have a test tomorrow, don't we? Okay, I'm asking someone to give me an answer. Okay, maybe I would hear, yes, we have. Mr. Smith is coming to the meeting, isn't he? I'm expecting an answer from the listener whom I'm talking to. I am permitted to park here, aren't I? Okay, notice the tag, aren't I? Quite different. We're going to talk about on that after a while. Another purpose, to agree with someone. The speaker does not expect an answer here. Like the first purpose, I'm expecting answer. But here, okay, you do not expect the answer. Example, you're falling asleep, aren't you? Okay, someone will not answer. Maybe he would like to go to sleep. The party was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Because you yourself are agreeing. I didn't win the lottery, did I? Now, if you have noticed, okay, me, or if you have listened to me carefully, I was probably using some intonation skills, okay, in telling these tags. So one more concept that we are going to focus today is intonation. All right, intonation. Now, what is intonation? I will cover that at the end of the class. But what are the other uses of tags? See, to ask if something is true. You're making a confirmation. You're making, okay, assurance for yourself. We're allowed to go for a walk on Sunday, aren't we? Okay, this is true. This is your routine. This is maybe a schedule that you have designed. So you're asking for confirmation from somebody whom you're interacting, to ask people to agree with us. Now, look at the example. Baseballs are amazing, aren't they? Okay, you are asking people to agree with you. The opinion about you have on this game, okay, is true. So that is what you expect. You're expecting agreement. And similarly, okay, to keep the conversation going. This is quite interesting. It's a unique thing. Then you decided to attend school online, didn't you? So if you're participating in an interview, the interviewer usually, okay, has this techniques of using tags like this one. Then you decided to attend the school online, didn't you? So this way you can make somebody feel quite easy, okay, to continue the conversation. There are times, okay, we stop while we are being interviewed, while we are talking to somebody, the ideas and the words do not come so quickly. Or let's say, okay, they are not so automatic. We have to create them. We have to construct them. And while we are lost in our thinking, if someone uses a similar idea of, okay, keeping our conversation going, it gives us a kind of an energy and we move on. The purpose, explained. Now, next one is to emphasize what we are saying. Okay, now for emphasizing, like I can just make an example. It's a beautiful weather, isn't it? So I'm putting that emphasis. Now, emphasis can appear with different subjects, varieties of, okay, categories and contents. What are they like? You must watch me and listen to me till the end of the class to get those ideas. Now we're trying to go, okay, and explore something about, okay, the steps. See there. This is one extra example, okay. We'll skip that part. We'll not go for it. Step 2, okay, this is step 1. Identify the verb in the sentence. Our first step. Let's slow down a bit because this would be interesting. Or maybe, okay, I should not be doing so fast so that you can get lost. Step 1, our first priority is It's explained there. Identify the verb. Okay, so identifying the verb means you go to identify maybe the tense or maybe the forms. Okay, like here in the example, Sergio likes. It's verb 5 and it is simple present tense. Okay, that is the verb. It's the main verb, right? Or whether it is a main verb or ox verb. So what are your concern? What are you looking for? Okay, in the step 1 is try to understand the verb. If you go for, okay, second step, identify the type of a verb. Okay, that is almost covered here. So maybe if I just ask you to identify the verb, now you go to identify, okay, the verb type. What verb is it? Like main verb, auxiliary verb, okay, the forms, all right, or the classification. Step 3, identify the tense of a verb. It's again here. See? 1, 2, 3, or you put it like ultimately 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's up to your understanding. You don't need to exactly focus on the idea like there are 6 steps. Some people even clearly understand in 2 steps. Some might understand in 4 steps. That's up to how we understand the process. But here, it's simplified. Identify the tense of the verb, present or past or future, or even if it is past, which past? Continuous past, perfect past. If it is future, okay, progressive future, you go to find it out. Keep going. Okay, I've explained. It's here, present tense, because Sergio likes. Now see, step 4. If in present tense, determine if first or third person. If in past tense, use aux verb to be or do in past. What does it mean? Look at the sentence there. Sergio likes to eat, okay, at buffets. Now use the auxiliary verb does, because there is the third person pronoun Sergio. It's not the first person pronoun I. It's not the second person pronoun you. It's a third personal pronoun. So I would prefer to use a third personal pronoun. And Sergio, if he's a boy, it's he. If she is a girl, it's she. Sometimes they're name confusing. Okay, a name can be of a boy or a girl. You should not be confused. It's up to your understanding. Some common names I was talking about. Now, if you move on. 5, see, is the verb affirmative or negative? The concept of this is like, okay, positive and negative. Positive, affirmative, negative is minus here. So what is the verb? Like here in the example, likes, if I talk about likes is positive verb. If I use it negative, okay, I might use it like doesn't like, see, doesn't like, or if I'm using with a plural subject, okay, don't like. So that's the concept of positive and negative. Ultimately, the rule that we know is positive statement, negative tag, negative statement, positive tag. The final step, add the pronoun at the end. If you remember something that I've drawn in the very beginning of the class when I was explaining you the components of tag, almost somewhere there, I presented to you, okay, subject pronoun. It's still here, see, subject pronoun. So that is one last thing that you have to know. Sergio likes to eat at buffets, doesn't. That's the auxiliary verb after you have gone through all those process. And ultimately, we use, okay, he, because Sergio here, we understand him as a boy. Now, this is simple steps. It's done, right? Let's overview the steps explained here. Okay, you can read this. And with this, you can practice the concept of using tags. Now, we're going to go into a little deeper section of understanding tags. And here, we will highlight, okay, the purpose. But let's take a quick example. 1 to 12. See, you have called the movers, okay, haven't you? They are coming tomorrow. You can find they are, okay, are coming. It's a present continuous. They are coming tomorrow, and you can search. It should be are and they. Okay, that should be easy because I have this all, okay, here stored. Practice with this, okay, for time being. And now we are going to move into new slides. See, the answers are there. I'm showing you. You can slow down later, pause, and check whether the answers that I have indicated by drawing the arrows are correct or not. If you can find my errors, okay, you have become a better learner. if you come to know that everything that I've done is right and correct, okay, you have still become a better learner because you have developed confidence in testing the answers. That's done for number 12. Now here we'll talk about few exceptions, okay, before we disclose more about tags. All right, let's go for a walk, shall we? Okay, let's. Look at the verb let's. With this, I will introduce to you let's plus shall. Now, what is this exception cases I'm trying to teach you here is, if I use, see here, number 1, let's, I'll pick up the same sentence. Let's go for a walk. The tag that I use is shall we. See there. Now, why this? Let's go for a walk, shall we? Why shall we? Because I have used let's and I have included myself. So I have made agreement along with me with somebody others I'm talking to. That was why, okay, I use shall we. But if I make a slight change and write instead of let's, let us. See, let us, okay, go for a walk. Now, what happens? Let us go for a walk. Here, I'm asking a kind of a permission from somebody, okay? Including me and the others, I'm looking for the permission. So let us go for a walk would become, will you? Quite close to the imperative sentence structures that we have studied. See here, I am late, aren't I? Now, students, do not be confused. Like you might be wondering, okay, I have got exceptions, okay, right here. Why? Right now, I have pre-assumed an idea that you know tag, you have learned tags, but what you don't know is some exception and the purpose. So this is what we are going to talk about, all right? And this is what we are talking about actually. Now, I am late, aren't I? Number 3, I am late, okay, aren't I? Many students have questions, why aren't I? Okay, there are options that you take in your exams, okay, instead of aren't I, they give you this particular word. But why don't we use this? For right now, I just explained that, okay, we don't use this because this is not advice, this is not in the rule. Why not in the rule? There might be several reasons, but the reasons that I know is like, okay, I use aren't I, negative tag question, okay, for a positive statement. I am late. All right? Reasons for not using am and I could be something like, once I read and I found there are some English words in which they use okay, consonants, double consonant blend, like cabbage, double B. But there are sometimes, okay, we use two consonant sounds which do not blend together perfectly. Like the example, see one of the seasons that you know, autumn. In autumn, or a word like, okay, condemn or him. If you know these words, if you're familiar with these words, see the last consonant sound, okay, M and N, they do not blend together and I cannot pronounce them. And that is why it's difficult for me to use this something like am and I. I really don't use this. However, I checked the dictionary and found like this particular tag is somehow used by Irish and British people. That's how the dictionary explains. But I have never interacted with Irish and Scottish people, so we will not rely on those particular ideas. What we should rely is, we should rely on the prescriptive grammar that is taught for us from exam point of view. So you will use aren't I for this kind of statement. All right? Now see, I'm not the only one. Okay, that's am I. But with its negative transformation, I am not the only one. You use the positive tag, am I. That is simple. I did this, didn't I? Okay, close the door. With every imperative, you have already learned, okay, will you? Close the door, will you? Don't close the door. That is also will you. In imperative sentence, either the statement is positive or negative, okay, the tag is always positive and the tag is always will you. It doesn't change, okay, that remains constant. It's not a dynamic thing right over here. Move on. Okay, now this is a little bit of focus that I'm going to teach you. Now coming to intonation part. We use tag with two intonation. Intonation, talking about the pitch of our voice. So there is rising intonation, there is falling intonation. A rising intonation is a real question like I have put on the screen. It is expecting agreement and confirmation. How to understand this? Let us take some examples. See, we really want to know something because we are not sure of the answer. Then you use the rising tone. Draw few sentences and then I'll probably explain to you what are these. Okay. See here, it's a nice weather. Okay, I'll give a tag. So if I'm using tag here, it's a nice weather. Okay, the tag you know is, isn't it? Of course, it's a nice weather. See here. Okay, auxiliary verb is used, positive statement, negative tag, so isn't it? And it is the subject pronoun which relates to the subject of the statement it here. Now, how should I say this with, okay, an intonation? Is it rising or falling? So intonation, we have two, rising and falling. Rising, it goes up, falling, it goes down. So look at the screen and read. A real question, rising intonation. Can I use rising intonation here? We really want to know something because we are not sure of the answer. Now here, in this sentence, it's a nice weather. I have some observation of, okay, the setting that I'm watching. The sun, the clouds, the wind, the brightness outside in my surrounding. So with all these evidences, if I know that I am certain on this particular idea, the weather is really nice, okay, I'm sure, so I would prefer to use falling tone. And therefore, when I say this, I will say, it's a nice weather, isn't it? I go down, okay? My pitch will go down at the end. But look at the sentence, okay? This one, you, okay, or let's say, okay, simple. You disgraced, okay, your family. Something wrong you did it, okay? You disgraced your family. Maybe you're talking about a month ago. You disgraced your family. The tag, of course, you know is, didn't you? All right, you disgraced your family, didn't you? Why? Because disgrace is past tense, so you rely the past auxiliary verb deed, positive statement, negative tag, subject pronoun, and that's you. It's done. But how should I say this? Okay, if you're using it. Now, what do I know? I will determine my situation. Basically, your way of using the tone or the intonation of tag actually depends upon the situation, or it depends upon the context. You disgrace your family. Now, if I am speaking it to a friend of mine, okay, now, what are my contexts? What are my situation? I might feel like I know the circumstance. I know the situation. And if I am so sure about the situation, okay, or there is a situation, I might just have heard from somebody else. There is a hearsay on this. I really don't know, okay, what exactly happened, but I got informed by somebody else. In that particular situation, I am not so certain about, okay, this particular idea that my friend disgraced his family reputation. So, what can I do? If I am raising this tag, I'm using this tag to clear the confusion. If I have a doubt over this particular thing, I would prefer him to answer me, and therefore I would prefer to use a little up, rising tone. So the intonation will rise. I will say, you disgraced your family, didn't you? Now when I say like didn't you, when I go up, okay, I am telling him that I am not so certain on this, you got to answer me. But with this, okay, I am sure, I am certain, so I would prefer to use the falling. So in every tag use, you have to understand the concept that I have just explained and accordingly apply this particular skill of, okay, intonation in your speaking. Falling, I've already explained here. Now let's take a look at. It's not a real question. It means agree with me, talk to me, or we want to add emphasis. Now emphasis on what? Okay, here we have a lot of ideas. See, if you're communicating with somebody and we're using tag, okay, we put emphasis on some contents like aggressions, teasing, sarcasm, accusations, confidence, disbelief, frustrations, concern, embarrassment, and many others. That is what I was talking about, okay, when I explained this situation and context. In what context, under what circumstances, and okay, on the concept of how you are intending to apply your idea, okay, in a conversation. Everything counts and everything matters. After we have explained all these, maybe it's time we should take some complex tags that can be asked in our exams. Starting with the basics, easy ones on the screen. You can keep on trying. Okay, I might not be answering everything because we have less time, and I would really love to teach you some difficult sections only. So from the screen, I will try maybe 3. Let's say the first one. There are a lot of people here, aren't there? Okay, you wouldn't tell anyone, would you? Or the last one, okay, he had never met her before. Okay, had he? Had he? Why? Because the word there is never, and that is a negative transformation. Now see here some difficult, okay, maybe it is, I really don't know, okay, it's up to you, okay. For somebody, okay, a simplest thing can become difficult. For someone, the most complex thing can become easy. We are going, okay, hand in hand, and we'll try to solve, okay, the exercise here. The supermarket was closed. Let's solve. The supermarket was closed, okay, wasn't it? See, both supermarkets were closed, weren't they? I'll pick up this one particularly, okay, second line now from the middle section, all right? Neither of the supermarkets was open. Now, why I'm picking up this? There is a reason. Sometimes tags can become very difficult. This example is one of them. Neither of the supermarkets, in this concept, okay, neither of the supermarkets was. Look at the verb, was, but the subject that you introduce is the supermarkets, and by rule, with such cases, neither of the supermarkets, either of the supermarkets, okay, none of the supermarkets, each of the supermarkets, or every of the supermarkets, the rule says you use singular verb to agree the subject, but when it comes to tag, you have to use a plural verb. I will demonstrate to you one example on the board, and I think that will make it everything clear. See here. Every child is special. This is a positive statement. We all know every child is special. Okay, and the tag is aren't they. Now, why are you using aren't they? If you want to know, though there is verb, okay, our concept is every is used with a singular noun format. We never say every children. It sounds so, but it is wrong. Every child, and child is singular, so is. Every child is special. But with the tag, okay, we understand every in distributive form, all right? In the distributive forms, every, okay, talks about all, and therefore the concept is the to be verb changes into are, and therefore it becomes aren't they. Now, while speaking of this, what is this transformation concept that I mentioned, okay, on the board? Let's study that too. She had, okay, a maid, okay, bring her food. And you have to supply a tag. Let's study this example. She had a maid bring her food. The tense here is a had, okay? And this had will demand you to use, okay, didn't. And the subject is she, didn't she. See here, she had a maid bring her food, didn't she? Why didn't she? The transformation skill. This is a positive statement. This negative statement is she didn't have. She didn't have. So my idea is for all sentences, if they are positive, transform them into negative. And when you transform them into negative, what verb do you get? First, use the same verb to make a tag. Tag will become easy. All right, my dear students, okay, you must have gone through tags in detail. Few parts are left. We might, unwrap them in my next session. Stay tuned. Keep on practicing tags, and more than practicing tags, okay, in your papers and copies or exercise books, apply tags in your everyday conversation. That's how you can keep on improving your English speaking. I am sure we all are going to do this, aren't we? That's the end of the lesson. Thank you for staying with me. Bye-bye. We'll meet again.